Thanks for staying with us. It's now time to delve into personal finance, and we have Charles Fracker joining us virtually, and we're looking at ways to manage our finances, during recession. Charles, good morning. Welcome to the show once again.
Charles, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're looking at managing our finance, especially during a recession or in preparation for a recession. So how should we go about that?
Yes, I was trying to explain when economics say there is a recession or a recession is going to happen very soon. They are looking at all the economic data in terms of the performances. On high unemployment, inflation rate is high, and of course GDP growth is negative for 2 consecutive season or quarter, as the case may be. So for individuals, how do you now begin to plan your finances when you are in the recession or when you are preparing for the recession? The first thing as financial planners, what we do is to advise our client to create or update their budget. You have to, if you don't have a budget before, you need to create one that will serve you. Okay. Then if you have one before, you can update your budget, because your budget will tell you how you are going to spend your money looking at the period in which you find ourselves. In a recession, you need to spend your money on those essentials that you need. You'll be able to differentiate between your need and your want. So you spend your money on those needs that are very, very important. And of course, the budget will kind of direct you as to how much you spend in each of these categories. That is the first step.
Let me quickly come in there.
Budget plan.
Let me quickly come in there, please. When you say folks should, prepare their budgets during recession, again, those are uncertain times because of the inflation rate. You are not too sure. You are not certain the cost of goods and commodities per time. It could be a certain price in 3 days ago, and then within the span of 3-4 days, that changes. So how realistic is it to really set a budget when, inflation is on the high and prices can actually fluctuate or increase, per day?
Yeah, very good. That's why we say it's a plan.
Okay.
And no plan is 100% certain. So it gives you an idea how you are going to navigate. It's a plan. That's why we say update your budget plan. It's a plan. Yeah, you could have said that the price of this item will be 45,000, and on the day you are going to buy it is 50,000. It's a plan. It gives you an indication as to what you expect. We don't expect it to be 100% accurate.
So what will be your advice for those whose plans and the cost of things exceeds that budget? For example, if as part of the budget you have 20,000 naira paying for transportation in a month, and during that month you have 35,000 spent on transportation, how do you expect them to augment these excesses?
It's not a one-off affair. Okay. That transport for the month is not a one-off affair. Okay. So they want day two. That's why you say you have to keep updating the budget. Okay. Keep updating it. Yes. And reduces your purchase of non-essential. That is the essence of the budget.
Okay. All right. Apart from the fact that we have to update our budgets, what other steps should we take during a recession?
Yes. Like I said, in pursuit of the next point is cut unnecessary expenses and save. Cut unnecessary expenses and save and save. Because that's the only way. You just need to cut down on unnecessary expenses. That's not the time for you to begin to plan for a trip. That's not the time you begin to plan for luxurious goods. That's not the time you begin to plan to say you want to get a new car. That's not the time you begin to plan to say you want to go for a vacation. So you cut unnecessary expenses and see how you can save, no matter how small.
Let me come in here. When you talk about saving, there are those who would say that in Nigeria today, when you save, the return is close to nothing. The return is 30% of the MPR, which for now is about 4.23 thereabout. Now, talking about saving, is that a viable option, or would you prefer saving because of the fact that we are in a recession? Look, we're not in a recession, but are you saying saving because, you know, we're looking at a recession period?
Exactly. That is what you need to cut. How can you save? Cut down on necessary expenses. Then whatever that is left, whatever little, no matter how small, save it. But you never can tell when the recession will be over. You know? So you need to still have some little savings so that when recession is over, you can now bounce back with those little savings you have made.
Okay, I think my question is, would you rather save or invest, or it's not a good time to think of investing? Because when you save, at the end of the day, the return on it is almost close to nothing.
Yes, look at it this way. The purpose of saving is for you to have extra fund. And after you have done that, yes, you cannot begin to think of investment.
Okay.
But first of all, you can't just go to the investment. You need to save. Looking at that period which we find ourselves, you need to save first. And the first thing to is to cut down your expenses and save. Then after that, you cannot begin to think of investment. Because at that period of recession, people are not really looking for investment. They are looking at survival.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so the next step we'll consider is keep an emergency fund. So you can see from that your savings. Keep an emergency fund. So that because it's a time like Samuel said, it's uncertainty. You don't know what is going to happen next. So you need to have an emergency fund that can assist you when issues come up. We can also now look at get rid of high interest debt. If you are in debt before, that is the best time for you to see how you can get rid of. Don't take any additional debts again. If you already have, try to manage those ones. Don't take any debt at that period, especially the high interest debt. So don't incur more debt. The ones that you have, just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, of course, finally, be mindful of investment risks. So you can see that during the period of recession,
yes,
there is a lot of risks, you know, so in terms of your investment. So if you are doing maybe a money market instrument, of course, the inflation rate is very high
at the time.
Whatever you are getting will not meet up. Will not meet up. So you need to be mindful of the investment risks. At that period too, you're also going to be having currency risks. The currency of that particular country can be just be coming down, you know, to lose its value. So you need to be mindful of investment risks. So you look at investment that you think, usually maybe investing in sectors that are able to withstand this recession. You look, if you want to invest in companies, you look at companies that are probably producing essential goods and services that no matter what happens, people will patronize them. So you can look at the telecom sector, you can look at the food sector, you know, so that these companies can still be doing something while the recession is on.
Okay. Okay. Any other tip?
Yes. The last tip I will give here is take interest in your finances and at the same time take interest in your mental health, because during period of recession a lot of depression will come in. People will begin to behave the way they want to behave, and of course we have seen even in our country here what a depression can do because of people going through economic crisis. So take care of your physical health and your mental health.
Okay, let me quickly chip in this scenario, because we know quite well that these things happen as well during recessions, where companies, you know, in a bid to you know, survive the turbulent times, they tend to shed weight by laying off some workers. If an individual is not so lucky and finds himself, you know, being laid off during a recession, what will be your tips, you know, on how such an individual can bounce back? I mean, pending the time he or she gets a job.
That's that's a very valid question, because yes, in terms of recession, companies want to stay afloat. Of course, they want to, was it downsizing or right sizing or downsizing, as the case may be. The first thing, like I have said earlier, my last point, take care of your mental and physical health, no matter what has happened. It is very, very key. Okay. And also, the workers should also be noted or be told that a recession is just a time frame. Yes, we might not know when we're going to get out of the recession, but he should maintain his physical and mental health. Yes, that is why we're advocating. You don't wait till the recession has come. You prepare for it. That is your emergency fund. Okay. So that when you are laid off from your work, of course, you will have something to fall back to that at least can sustain you for some time.
And you're talking about
your standard of living might come down, but of course, you will be able to at least maintain your mental and physical health, which is very, very important.
Okay. Well, talking about, reducing what you're spending on all of that, or falling back to what you have saved over time, there are those who are not even able to save because the take home cannot even take them to the gate, let alone taking them home. For people like that, shouldn't we be thinking of a social security system, just like we have in some other countries where there are social security systems to, ensure that people like this are taken care of during the period?
Okay, well, you said the take-home home cannot even take you to the gate, but sometimes it can take you to beggar, to your house anyway. Yes, it's a real concern, but for we as personal finance experts, we've always advocated and let our client know that it is not the government, it is not your spouse, it is not your employer that can take care of your financial well-being. Yes, those ones can do their best, but it is you and you and you that can take care of your personal finance, whether it is a boom period, whether it's a recession period. So all those assistance, yes, if they come, you take advantage of it. But it is not what you should begin to depend on and say, okay, it's a recession, government will give us social security. We all saw what happened during the pandemic, when even palliative that was meant for the public were diverted and misused or misappropriated by the politician. So in terms of recession or any other emergency, you as a worker, you begin to take responsibility for your own finances. Yes, what you are being paid might be very, very small, not enough, but we are saying if you already have an automatic saving, no matter how small you are receiving, that savings, if it is taken off without you knowing, of course, at the end of the day, when there is a recession or there is an emergency, you can still fall back to what you have collected. Imagine the tax man. It doesn't allow you to see your money. It takes it from source. So you can also have an emergency situation like that, or an automatic checkout account where as soon as your salary is paid, even if it is as low as 10% or 10% of your salary is taken off to a special account that you don't have access to it. Maybe in terms of emergency, that's when you can have access to it. You can see that no matter how much you receive, as long as you earn an income, all of us can save.
All right. As long as you earn an income, all of us can save, even though, some of us will beg to differ because we've seen real life situations, people who it's even difficult. But that's story for another day. Now, talking about,
you pay your tax?
You were saying?
Don't you pay your tax, but you don't see the tax. That is removed immediately. The government takes it before you get to you. You can apply that to your savings too.
I pray it works for them. Okay, so all right, very quickly, just before we wrap up, I'd like you to talk to us about this. When it's a recession, is that the time to start, selling your shares, or you should hold? Especially if you probably do not have an emergency fund, can you start, pulling out your investments or liquidating your investments?
Okay, we're assuming that this particular individual has done some investment before in the stock market and he has some portfolio.
Yes.
Yes, at this time of recession, yes, because of there is a need for one to survive. Yes, we might be tempted to pay. I will advise that you look at the portfolio, the securities that have not been giving you enough return or your expected return. Yes, you can talk to your stockbroker to do a rebalancing of your portfolio. Let all those ones that have not been giving you a return that you require, you can sell off those ones. And of course, like you have said, use the money for the emergency and continue to survive. However, if it is not enough, you are living to be alive, not alive to be living. So, yes, if you don't have any other emergency savings somewhere, of course, your investment can serve as a backup for you. You can decide to sell some part of your portfolio. We're not saying that's the time you have to now liquidate everything. Yes, you can sell part of your portfolio just to survive so that you will be alive.
Okay, I think the lesson here is to actually diversify your portfolio. So at the end of the day, when things like this happen, there is always something to fall back to or fall back on, and you're not, liquidating everything. Good one. Thank you so much for sharing these insights with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Do enjoy the rest of the day.
You too.
All right. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we have some update for you. Stay with us and don't go anywhere.